1, 2, 3.
As long as it's
This is someone's mic. Here. Maybe she should be up here.
So we're here for a candidates meeting of the Workers' Party in London.
Shall I move out the way? Sorry, guys.
I'm signing scores of nomination forms for our candidates in London. My dear brother Hoss is the mastermind for our London campaign. Future member of Parliament for myself in either house. We're going to take London by storm. I've lost count of the number of candidates who've got standing. Labour has made a total disaster of their London campaign by sacking candidates at the last minute, being forced to reinstate one of them, but digging in on the cronies, Starmer's cronies, popping up as candidates for Labour all over London. I'm going to get a big shock.
You finished
Okay,
just in
please.
time. Carry on now. Just as we finished, you went, oh, okay. Good timing.
Shall I? Do you need one? Oh. It's all at the board. It's all at the board. They'll have to do that. You said it was at the board. Are you doing, basically you're doing the national coordination now, right? Because James is really fully committed as a candidate now, plus his residual work. Very much help. Wouldn't it be fun if you ended up here?
So this is a candidates meeting, so it's not going to be full. Once they get the paperwork out of the way, I'm sure George will make a speech to the candidates about prospects. How you doing?
Did you find out anything about
I think he wasn't on duty.
Almost there.
Sorry about this, guys.
not on duty, not even he was actually told to do that. He would give it on incident.
I haven't received their paperwork, and because they haven't received the paperwork, making sure we've got spare ones available. Because George has got to sign every piece of paper he signs. If he doesn't sign it, it doesn't count.
But he did very well.
It's a heavy responsibility. Very well said.
How many nominations do you need? 10 per candidate. But this documentation is the certificate authorisation that's given by the party leader as the party leader as our candidate for the Works Party. It's a document that without which no documentation will work. Because it has to be signed by a nominated officer.
I hope to sign one of these for you one day. Oz will be your organizer. Oh, how lovely.
All right. Yeah, just getting the paperwork out of the way. That we've been saying. So look at your comments now. No, but I'll be taking that question up myself. And Johnny Parker on the question of the jabs and the rest. I will be taking that up, and I have corresponded with George about this question. So expect stuff from me on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, oh my goodness, that's wonderful speaking equipment. Far better than the last time I was here.
Thank you, Amrit Ma'am, thank you.
Thank you very much, Amrit. I didn't expect to be back here quite so soon, but then nobody expected the election quite so soon. But we are buoyant and up and running all over the country, and nowhere more than here in London, where I think the first thing I have to say is what a magnificent job Hawes has done as the election. Truly outstanding and all entirely voluntary, day and night. For weeks and weeks he has been putting this show into place, and we are in a very good place. Certainly much better than Labour. Their election campaign has been designed by idiots, and especially in London. where in the last half hour they've just reinstated Diane Abbott, having thrown her to the wolves and seen the clamour, seen the impact on formerly key parts of Labour's demographic support. They've had to put her back in. But my question to Diane, my friend of 40 years, why would you want to stand for Keir Starmer's Labour Party? For any number of reasons. First of all, what they've just done to you, why would you want to ask people to put Keir Starmer into 10 Downing Street and David Lammy into the Foreign Office and Wes Streeting into the National Health Service? Why would you want to do that? And why would you want to do it when Keir Starmer has supported a literal genocide, which is still going on and will go on right throughout the election campaign? How are you going to be Keir Starmer's candidate in Hackney and Stoke Newington? What are you going to say to people? Vote genocide? Vote for more slaughter in Gaza? It's a very odd decision. I wish that Diane Abbott had stood firm and said, to hell with your genocide Labour Party, I'm running as an independent candidate, or even better, I'm running for the Workers' Party of Britain. That would have been the principled thing to do. And of course, it's not just Diane. I mean, they brought a woman. Well, let me tell you a story. I shouldn't. But as there's only us here, plus these cameras. We have an office on the same floor in Parliament as Ian Duncan Smith. Ian Duncan Smith had already packed his bags. Literally packed them. His staff were applying for other jobs. Don't ask me how I know that. Because he was certain that he was going to lose to the Labour candidate who nearly beat him last time, a woman by the name of Pfizer. And she thought she was going to be the Labour MP for Chingford and Woodford, where we've got an excellent candidate running, by the way. I met him just the other day, Mr. Khan. I don't know if he's here.
It's not here. It's not here.
I had dinner with him just the other day. Outstanding candidate. Background in economics, finance, the city, and so on. Highly successful man. Great MP. He will be. But Pfizer was told with 1 hour's notice by email that she'd been sacked as the Labour candidate in Chingford and Woodford because years before she liked a post on Facebook made by Jon Stewart, the Jewish American comedian of world renown. 10 years ago, she liked a post on Facebook, and for that, Keir Starmer has sacked her as the Labour candidate, and she famously appeared. I didn't see it, but I've seen the clips on Newsnight, and broke down in tears because she'd been sacked so peremptorily as the Labour candidate. Somebody asked me today, will you be standing your candidate down in Chingford and Woodford? I said, why would I do that? 1 hour before she was sacked, she was ready to be Keir Starmer's candidate in Chingford, defending everything that Keir Starmer stands for and asking us to put Starmer into Downing Street. So, absolutely not. Our candidate was in the field when she was still the Labour candidate and will remain in the field. But it's not only Chingford. The Independent newspaper just rang me and they've spotted something that I hadn't. Every Labour candidate in the East End of London is white English. Everyone. Even in constituencies like Newham, where ethnic minorities are the majority. What madness is this? Not only are they all white, they're all Keir Starmer's staff members or former staff members. They are treating the electorate with such contempt that they tricked people into thinking that these sitting MPs were going to continue, were going to run again, only to withdraw at the last minute so that Starmer could hand-pick their replacements without any difficulties with public consultation or votes or anything like that. Well, the wages of showing contempt for the public are to earn the public's contempt for you. And I believe that Labour throughout the East End of London, where we're running candidates and where we're supporting independent candidates, is going to be a drubbing for the Labour Party right across East London. And your job, many of you, is to make sure that the same thing happens in West London. We are in a better position than any of us could ever have imagined. Labour's off to a disastrous start. Keir Starmer has negative public opinion ratings lower than Rishi Sunak, and that's hard to do, by the way. It's hard to be more unpopular than Rishi Sunak, especially when the party you lead has a big lead over the Conservative Party. But the personal ratings of Keir Starmer are super negative, minus 35, minus 35. And the problem for him is, this election is going to be all about him. It's going to be him that's on the news. It's going to be him that's being questioned. It's going to be him that's in the debates. And he won't do well in those debates because he's made of wood. He's so wooden, the birds are nesting in him. He clunks his way through politics, and that will show up very vividly in the course of the general election campaign. But more than any other reason, it's going to be a bad election for Keir Starmer because of Gaza. Genocide has gone out of fashion. The mass slaughter of children is not popular. Children without heads, without limbs, children's lifeblood lying in the dirt of a hovel of a refugee camp is not popular. And in the public's mind, it is entirely fixed that both the Conservatives and the Labour Party have supported this genocide right from the start. So there'll never be a better time to say to people, there must be a better way than this. We must be able to vote for better than one cheek or the other of the same backside. There must be. a better way for Britain than to be ruled by this uni party that stands for the same things at home and abroad. And in the past, as Peter Mandelson once infamously said, well, Labour voters have got nowhere else to go. So whatever we do, they have to stick with us. Lesser of two evils and all of that. But now, people do have somewhere else to go. You are where else they have to go. We are where else they have to go. And in a remarkably short time, thanks to the people of Rochdale for the by-election victory on the 29th of February, not even 100 days ago, look how the landscape has transformed. In less than 100 days, a party that was nowhere has become a party that is everywhere. Everywhere, up and down the length and breadth of the land. From West Wales to the north of Scotland. From London to the north of England. In the Midlands, in Birmingham, where we're poised to win 3 members of Parliament in the centre of Birmingham. This is a remarkable transformation, but that's because British politics was a desert. And as some of you know, it only takes a few drops of rain to transform a desert. Suddenly, things which have not been cited for years or even ever are there in clear view, in plain sight. And that is where you come in. You have many tasks ahead of you now. I won't be seeing you again until after the polls, except online on screen. But you have the opportunity now to get out amongst your public and show them that another way is possible, a better way is possible. You've got to raise money because you will not be able to put leaflets out if you can't pay for them. You will not be able to have posters in shop windows and people's windows unless you can pay for them. So you need to raise money. I see a lot of crowdfunding going on. I hope it's going well. But don't just sit passively waiting for it to come in. Go out looking for it. Speak to anybody that you know who's worth a few bob, even if it's only a few pounds each. From the many can come a great deal of campaign funding. You don't need to raise a huge sum. It's a big sum, but it's not insurmountable for each of you to spend the maximum of £18,000 or so on this election. It's good value for money, because if it wins you the election, well, you'll thank all those who supported you for the next 5 years. If you're sitting in the House of Commons with me, we'll make a huge impact. So you need to raise money. You need to knock on doors. You need to stand in the street with your rosette and address people. This is a time when people will not think it odd. In fact, they'd think it odd if you didn't. Come up and speak to them. Introduce yourself. Tell them who you are and what you are standing for and why you are standing. And you need to make sure you're in every debate that takes place locally. And there will be many of those. If you hear, and you need to make sure you hear, of any hustings, that's what they call them, it's an ancient English tradition, any hustings in church halls or in community organizations, make sure you are there. You have a legal right to be there. And when you're there, be yourself, be honest, and tell everyone the frauds that the other parties represent. And do it boldly, bravely. Be Daniel in the lion's den, if that's what's required. But speak to the great issues that grip our people at home and abroad with honesty and impress them. And dress to impress. Thank you, brother, for your late father's tie, which has vastly improved my appearance, and I'm greatly touched for your gift of it. Make sure you dress to impress, and make sure you know your P's and Q's. But if there's something raised that you don't know, be honest about it and say, actually, I don't know about that, but others in my party do, and I'll make sure I get you an answer from those. You don't have to endorse or agree with all of my points of view. To take one, for example, if you agree with Ed Davey on LBC this morning, that definitely, 3 definitelys, a woman can have a penis. If you agree with Ed Davey on that, then say so. Or if you agree with me that that can't actually be true, then say that, and say it without fear or favour. If somebody asks you your point of view on all the issues that we stand for, just refer to them, our manifesto, on which you're standing and which you should all read. And you can read it online on the website, and I think you'll be proud of it. I have to go now to take pictures, I think, with some of the candidates that don't yet have them. And then I'm launching the campaign in High Wycombe, where our candidate was the Labour candidate in 2019. Very bad year for Labour, but he polled 20,000 votes in that campaign in 2019. Now he's standing for us. I hope he polls 20,000 votes again, and if he does, he'll be our Member of Parliament for High Wycombe. So I will have to be brief, I can't tarry. I'll do my duties here that Oz has very tightly prescribed for me, and I will then be on my way. Thank you very much again for being here this evening, and good luck in your election campaign. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Guys, can I just ask those of you who have not had your picture taken with George, who are our candidates, you've come from all over the country, if you can, just form a queue please on the left-hand side here. And I'd like you, when you come up, to mention the name of the place that you are standing for.
That's me too. So I'm going to cut this off because this is not. I'll cut this off now, yeah? I've got to join the queue to take photos myself.